Hello, hello. Welcome back to Let's Talk Ray Bradbury. My name is Brian Kunkel, and what is this show? Beginning in 2018, I set about the mammoth effort of locating, reading, and reviewing each of the roughly 600 short stories written by the late, great Ray Bradbury. Today, we're up to story number 309. It comes from the Collected Stories of Ray Bradbury, a critical edition from 2010. Today's story is The Piper from 1941, although it was published in 1943. If you're new to the show, the way this works is I do a very brief synopsis of what happens in the story, and then at the end I try to wrap it up. Just a very light analysis, some thoughts and things about what it all means. Is it a good story? Where does it stack up? And I mainly do this for my own entertainment, I guess. So, the Piper, a Martian named Kerac, who plays a silver pipe, is brought back to Mars from Jupiter, where he's been sort of enslaved by the group they call the Jovians, who are his overlords, and he is late in his life, and his ship is coming down, and as it hovers over the city, he's just so upset by how dilapidated things look. They've built these nasty, disorganized, brutish cities. They're piping loud music through all of these speakers all the time, and it's very unpleasant. And so, as soon as he lands, he sort of sneaks off into the hills, and he's looking for a more wholesome environment, places that he remembers from his youth. And at this point, he begins to wonder, there is a second race of native Martians. Do they still exist? His own race has all died out except for him, but perhaps the ones he calls the Dark Ones are still there. And so he goes into their caves of their subterranean world, and he finds himself followed by these brutish, mindless, amoeba-like creatures, and he sort of calls out to them, and he asks them, will you fight for me, take revenge for my people, take back Mars, and they will not come. But he does realize that they do seem to have a response, a physical response to the sound of the native birds that are still thriving there in those mountains, and so he keeps that sort of in the back of his head. Later, he is forced into what amounts to basically being an opium den. It's a place where the Jovians go to get drunk and to get stoned and to get out of their minds and listen to music. And he's taken there and he's forced to play music, and so he sort of develops this song based on the song of those birds that he had heard. And it has a tremendous effect on these people, on these Jovians. And so later, he is asked, or rather forced by the Jovians to record some of his music because they think that it might be something that they can pipe over their loud noise systems all the time. And so he does this, and as soon as they crank it up, it calls the Dark race out of their dens, and they come and they begin to attack the city. And he thinks to himself, yes, this is how I'm going to take back Mars, and perhaps I'll take this to Jupiter and get revenge there, and maybe I'll go to Earth where the Jovians also have mines and cities. And everything seems to be going as planned, wonderfully, but then he finds that he can't control the Dark Ones. The music is still playing, and they're drawn to him, and they seem to be bearing down on him just as the story ends. So, at this point in Bradbury's career, a few stories in, his writing is very primitive still. It's not good. It is very amateurish, but you can tell that he has big, ambitious ideas, as young writers often do, myself included, and so you have to respect the ambition. In many ways, the story reminds me a lot of Lovecraft. There's stories where music has a particular effect in Lovecraft, but also the Dark Race could be the Shoggoths that he talks about, these sort of gelatinous slave race that are bred to perform all this slave labor in his worlds. So that's a very close similarity. And of course, at this point, Lovecraft was just writing those stories. I know a lot of them weren't published until after he died, but there is some sort of a parallel between those two careers at this point. The Jovians could very well be the Cyclones out of L. Ron Hubbard's Battlefield Earth, which I know was written much later, but they do have that sort of same sort of vibe. These brutish, large overlords who are fucking up your home planet and enslaving you. There's a lot of similarity to that as well. But running through the story, there's a lot of great themes. Environmentalism is one of them. I get sort of shades of what we got from James Cameron in Avatar. this planet's ability to sort of react to its invaders. Speaking of the invaders, there's the colonialism factor. People have been moving around our planet for millennia, and so when we come into a new area, many of us tend to exploit these places for resources, and it's not necessarily always in the best interest of the people who have been there longer. But also the big one, I think, is the power of music or the arts in general, the power to move people, to move nature, the fact that sound has such a strong impact on living creatures. I think that's a very important one here as well. But as I was saying, the story has high aspirations, but it's not very good. It doesn't stack up very high in his list of great works. It's right near the bottom just because of the execution. But you have to respect the aspirations, the ambition of a young author trying to tell this story. It's just really not that well done. It's pretty immature, pretty clunky. It doesn't have that sort of finesse that this easygoing nature of all of Bradbury's later work has, that he begins to develop. But, the nuts and bolts that are there, the foundations, you can tell where this is headed. But I will say it is interesting because this is a Mars set story, and Bradbury wrote dozens and dozens of stories set on Mars, including the Martian Chronicles. And this is a very different story. It has some of the elements, sort of the sad, mournful, extinct Martian race, but not beyond that. It's very, very different. The inclusion of another alien race as overlords. Later it becomes the humans who are coming, and the humans are quite different. Yes, we try to build cities and things like that, but it's a little bit different vibe than all of that. So yes. That is The Piper from 1941. Next time, which should be in a couple of days, I'll be looking at The Candle from 1942, and that'll be the fifth story in this collection. So be sure to tune in a couple of days and find out what that is all about. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.